Hello dear students, welcome to second lecture of models in decision making. The first lecture we discussed the theme models, characteristics, properties, and the last one is the types of model. And we're discussing the different types of models in this lecture. That means a later part of the types of model. There is a deterministic model, probabilistic model, static, dynamic, and programming model. These are the important elements or the contents regarding this second lecture. Okay, let us start the first one. What is a modeling or models? A model means it's a representation of reality. We already discussed the term model. There's a reality, there's a representation of reality, and this is one of the important terms used for solving the real life problems. Maybe define idealized representation of the real life situation or the real life system. So the term is known as a model. A model is like a selected, simplified representation of the relevant entities, that means modules, some specific reality or the characteristics. The term is known as the model. As a model point of view, the different types of model. We are discussing some important models, and starting with the different types of model. We all discuss iconic model, that means specific and analog model, that's analog characteristics, symbolic model, that's like a symbol, symbols. And the fourth one, deterministic and probabilistic, static, dynamic, and programming model. I'm discussing the fourth models always. What is the deterministic model, probabilistic model, static model, dynamic model, and the programming models. And starting the first one is the deterministic model. The deterministic model means in a real life situation there is chance for the probability, the certainty and the uncertainties. The deterministic model always resulted with a certainty. That means certainty in all aspects. That is, there is uncertainty. This model is assumed that everything is certain. Suppose what is a chance for the rain? There is a definite, certain. There is a certainty. That means there is no probabilistic. It's always focusing on certainty. This category of the model is known as a deterministic model. A deterministic model, everything is defined as the results are the certain. Will definitely happen. That is certainty. There is no probability. That's definitely certain. That means there is no probabilistic. The deterministic model will produce same output from the given starting condition, the initial state. That means there is no probability. It's always a certainty in the real aspects. The term is known as a deterministic model. Therefore, this model has assumed the certainty in the all aspects. Everything is certain. The term is known as the deterministic model. For example, the deterministic models, suppose timetables, tomorrow timetables. Suppose you are giving the timetables to the students. The tomorrow timetable is always certain. That means there's a timetables are the example regarding the deterministic model. A pricing structure, linear programming model, economic order counting, that means EOQ, map accountings. These are the deterministic model. That means there is a certainty. It definitely happen tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, and will be continue for the every year. That category of the model is known as the deterministic model. So once again, this model is given the important certainty. That means the timetable, pricing, structure, linear programming, all of the important example regarding the deterministic model. That's the first the fourth one is a deterministic model. And another one is a probabilistic stochastic model. Is just reverse of the deterministic model. That's uncertainty. There's a possibility for the uncertainty. The probabilistic model, the stochastic model means there's importance given to the probability and the probability distribution. We are familiar with the term is probability in your the QT classes. That means is the probability is getting chance of occurrence of an event. The term is known as a probability. The probabilistic model is given to the importance of probability and the probability distributions, like the binomial, Poisson, normal distributions. All are taken to consider for a decision. The probabilistic model gives the probability distribution as a solution. We use the term the probability and the probability distribution to get an answer. The term is known as the probabilistic or stochastic model. For example, life insurance is based on the fact we know that certainty that we'll die. There is a probability we'll die or not in a specific period. There is always certainty, but we don't know when. So that is a probability. Life insurance is based on the fact we know with certainty that we will die, but we don't know when. This model can be part of the deterministic model. That's a probability. There's importance given to the probability. This is one of the important examples regarding the concept of the stochastic model. There's importance given to the probability. So the second category, that's the fifth category of the model, is probabilistic or stochastic model. We are using the probability term and probability distribution for taking a decision. The term is known as the probabilistic model or the stochastic model. Let me randomly selection. Suppose like a coin getting a head, what is the probability? Suppose tossing a coin getting a tail, what is the probability? Suppose you're throwing a die, getting the chance of 5. So always example regarding the probabilistic pattern of the models. Okay, there's another one is the probabilities or the stochastic model. Okay, and another one is a static and dynamic model. Then one of the important category of the model used for the decision making, that is static model and the dynamic model. The static means model that represents the phenomenon at a given point of time. That means it's a importance given at the given point of time. But that compare the phenomenon at a different point of time. Suppose economic crisis happened, there's a given point of time. We can compare this economic rise in the previous years. So it's like a static model, and it's a model that represents a phenomenon at a given point in time, or that compare the phenomenon at different point of time. It assumes that the values or the variable do not change with the time during the particular period. That's one of the important assumptions of static. Assume that the values of the variable do not change with the time during the particular period. This types of model is known as the static model. This is a lot of an example. Suppose the economic crisis is always happen, but the variable do not change with the time during the particular period sometime. Okay, this is an example. The static model is a model to represent the phenomenon at a given point of time, or that compare the phenomenon at a different point in time. Can be compared at the different point of time. So that is a dynamic. Suppose, for example, World Cup എടുത്ത കൺട്രീസ്, ഫുട്ബോളിൻ്റെ വേൾഡ് കപ്പ് എടുത്ത കൺട്രീസ് നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എവറി ഇയറിൽ ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് കൺട്രീസ് എടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. വളരെ റയറായിട്ട് റിപ്പീറ്റഡ് കൺട്രീസ് എടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ടായിരിക്കുമല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ അതൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് സ്റ്റാറ്റിക് മോഡൽസ് ആയിട്ട് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് സാധിക്കും. ദറ്റ്സ് എൻ എക്സാമ്പിൾ റിഗാർഡ് സ്റ്റാറ്റിക് മോഡൽ. And another one is the dynamic model. The dynamic model, that means it's the change according to the time. The time is a dependent aspect of the system. So the model is changed according to the time. This that means ഇവിടെ ചേഞ്ചുകൾ സംഭവിക്കും. This main concept dynamic model says state the situation and transition of the change, and event and occurrence of the triggers and action and concurrence in the transitions. കാരണം ഇവിടെ ചേഞ്ചുകൾക്ക് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് എപ്പോൾ എങ്ങനെ ഇവിടെ വെച്ച് ചേഞ്ച് സംഭവിച്ചു. A lot of concept relating with the dynamic model, the state, the situation, a transition of the change, കാരണം ചേഞ്ച് വന്ന പീരീഡ്, and the event, എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ചേഞ്ചിന് സംഭവിച്ച കാര്യങ്ങൾ, the action, concurrency of the transition. These are the important part of the dynamic model. The dynamic model, that means that the time is very important. I mean, the change according to the time. The time is a dependent aspect of the system. Okay, this category of the model is known as the dynamic model. Okay, there's a two category of the model. There is a static model and there is a dynamic model. The static model that represents the phenomenon at the given point of time and compare the different point of time. Given point of time to the compare the different point of time. The dynamic means that the time is dependent the system. Okay, that's a change according to situations. Okay, that's the dynamic model. That's one of the important category of the model, static and the dynamic model. There's an example, the static model, there is a comparing the different point of time, and the dynamic model, that's a change according to the situations. Okay, the example shows that the static and the dynamic model. Okay, and after that the programming models. These very important models were used in the decision making. There is a programming models. As a programming model's point of view, what is a programming model? The programming is like a language. As an IT point of view, you are using the programming like a language. Define a language and library that create the abstract view of the machine. ഒരു മെഷീൻ പെർഫോം ചെയ്ത് നമ്മൾ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന പ്രോഗ്രാമുകൾ നമുക്ക് പലപ്പോഴും പ്രോഗ്രാമിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയാൻ സാധിക്കും. So relating with the language or the library that create an abstract view of the machine, the term is known as a programming. As a programming point of view, we are using a lot of the models because the programming model act as a bridge between the algorithm and the actual implementation software. പലപ്പോഴും സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയറിൽ കൂടി ആയിരിക്കും പ്രോഗ്രാംസ് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. നമ്മൾ ആധാറിന് രജിസ്ട്രേഷൻ ചെയ്യുന്നു, അപ്പോൾ ആധാർ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ വി ആർ യൂസിങ് certain programs. So we are using certain algorithms. Algorithm and actual importance is softwares. And we're discussing the different types of the programming model. And different types of program. The first one is allocation model. Allocation means allocation of resources. A lot of the resources are available to the organization. We can allocate the resources to different activity. And that means measurable terms. We can be allocated the activities. So this is the first one is allocation model. This first category of the program model is allocation. Can we allocate the resource of your organization? That's the first model used in the programming, that is allocation model. And another one is sequencing model. Sequence, these are concerned with the placing the item different certain sequence. ചില സീക്വൻസിൽ മാത്രം നമുക്ക് പല കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യേണ്ടതായിട്ട് വരാം. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ കാണുന്ന ഒരു എലമെന്റ് ആണ് നമുക്ക് എലക്ഷൻസ് ഒരു സീക്വൻസ് ആണ്. ശരിക്കും ഒരു എവറി 5 ഇയറിലാണ് എലക്ഷൻസ് ഓരോ മീൻസ് ഒരു സ്റ്റേറ്റിലാണെങ്കിലും കൺട്രിയിലാണ് സംഭവിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ അതൊരു സീക്വൻസിക്കൽ അറേഞ്ച്മെന്റ്. അപ്പോൾ ആ സീക്വൻസ് സമയത്തായിരിക്കും നമുക്ക് പലപ്പോഴും ഇലക്ട്രോണിക് EVMs ഇലക്ട്രോണിക് വോട്ടിംഗ് മെഷീൻ ഒക്കെ ആവശ്യമായിട്ട് വരാം. അത് കൺസ് പ്ലേസിങ് an item certain sequence. അപ്പോൾ ആ സമയത്ത് അത് കൂടുതൽ സർക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അത് സപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യും ഓർഡർ ഫോർ ദ സർവീസ്. സോ ദിസ് സീക്വൻസിങ് മോഡൽ. ആൻഡ് അനദർ വൺ ഇസ് എ വെയിറ്റിംഗ് ലൈൻ ക്യൂവിംഗ് മോഡൽസ്. നമ്മൾ സാധാരണ ബാങ്കിൽ പോയി ക്യൂ നിൽക്കാറുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ എത്ര സമയം ഒരു ആൾ ക്യൂ സർവീസ് കിട്ടാൻ വേണ്ടി ക്യൂ നിൽക്കേണ്ടതായിട്ട് വന്നു. അത് പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യാൻ നമുക്ക് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരുപാട് മോഡൽസ് ഉണ്ട്. ദാറ്റ്സ് മോഡൽ ഇസ് നോൺ ആസ് എ ക്യൂവിംഗ് മോഡൽ. മീൻസ് വെയിറ്റിംഗ് ടൈം എത്രയാണ്, ആ ക്യൂവിൽ നിങ്ങൾ എത്ര സമയം നിന്നു, എപ്പോഴും നമുക്ക് സർവീസ് കിട്ടിയത്, ഇതൊക്കെ മെഷർ ചെയ്യാൻ നമ്മൾ മാത്തമാറ്റിക്കലി യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കൺസെപ്റ്റാണ്. ദാറ്റ്സ് എ ക്യൂവിംഗ് മോഡൽസ്. Third one is a waiting line or the queuing model. The first one allocation, that's allocation of resources. Second one is sequencing model, is a placing certain sequence. And third, waiting line and the queuing model. That means that we are using the waiting time and the queuing time, getting services. It's a part of the mathematical study. Okay. The third one is the waiting line and queuing model. And the fourth one is the inventory model. The inventory model, that means inventory is a part of stock. To avoid overstocking and understocking, we are maintaining the optimal level of the inventory. And how to maintain the optimal level of the inventory? We can use a lot of the inventory techniques like EOQ, economic order quantity, and a lot of the techniques are used with the inventory concept. And another category of the mathematical model that means to optimal level of the inventory relating with the production process. We are using a lot of the economic terms, EOQ point of view, and the minimum order, reorder level quantity. All are the part of the mathematical concept. There's a fourth one. Is the inventory model. And fifth one is a competitive strategy model. That means game theory. Game theory is the concept of the game theory. Like a football game. നമുക്കറിയാം ഫുട്ബോൾ കളിക്കുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ചിന്തിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ആശയമുണ്ട്. നമ്മുടെ ഗോൾ പോസ്റ്റ് അധികം ഗോൾ വരാണ്ടിരിക്കുകയും മറ്റുള്ള എതിരാളികളുടെ ഗോൾ പോസ്റ്റ് കൂടുതൽ ഗോൾ അടിക്കുകയും ചെയ്യുക. ദ സെയിം സ്ട്രാറ്റജി ഗെയിം തിയറിൽ അതാണ്. നമുക്ക് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ മാക്സിമം പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ നടത്തണം വിത്ത് മിനിമം കോസ്റ്റ്. നമുക്ക് കോസ്റ്റ് അധികം ഉണ്ടാകാൻ പാടില്ല, പക്ഷെ മാക്സിമം പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ കണ്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കണം. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഒരു സയൻസ് ഓഫ് സ്ട്രാറ്റജി നമ്മളൊരു ബിസിനസ് കൺസെപ്റ്റിൽ അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴാണ് നമുക്ക് ഗെയിം തിയറി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കോമ്പറ്റേറ്റീവ് സ്ട്രാറ്റജി മോഡൽ കാണാനായിട്ട് സാധിക്കും. അത് ഡിസിഷൻ മേക്കിന് ഏറ്റവും ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് കൺസെപ്റ്റാണ്. കാരണം പലപ്പോഴും നമുക്ക് നല്ല ഡിസിഷൻസ് എടുക്കണമെങ്കിൽ പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ കൂടുകയും കോസ്റ്റ് കുറയ്ക്കുകയും ചെയ്യണം. ആ ഒരു കൺസെപ്റ്റിനെ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ ബേസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കൺസെപ്റ്റാണ് ദാറ്റ്സ് എ ഗെയിം തിയറി കൺസെപ്റ്റ് ഓർ ദ കോമ്പറ്റേറ്റീവ് സ്ട്രാറ്റജി മോഡൽ. ആൻഡ് സിക്സ്ത് വൺ ഇസ് എ ഡിസിഷൻ മോഡൽ. That means it's a logic of taking a decision. എങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഡിസിഷൻ എടുക്കും? Identify the alternative, evaluating the alternative, and selecting the best one. The term is a decision model. It's like an intellectual template of the perceiving, organizing, and managing the business decision. എങ്ങനെയാണ് നല്ല ബിസിനസ് ഡിസിഷൻസ് എടുക്കേണ്ടത്, ഓർഗനൈസ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് എടുക്കണം, എങ്ങനെ ഓർഗനൈസ് ചെയ്യണം, അതിന് സ്പെസിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്ന ഡിസിഷൻ മോഡൽ. The term is known as the decision model. And fourth one is inventory. That means reducing overstocking and understocking, maintaining optimal level as inventory. Another one is a game theory strategy. That means the maximum production with the minimum cost. And another one is the decision model. That means the behind of the business decisions. And this is the important elements regarding the program model is the decision model, competitive, and inventory model. And the seventh one is a network model. And network means it's a PERT and CPM. But I don't use the concept on PERT, program evaluation review techniques. The critical path method. ഏറ്റവും മാക്സിമം ടൈം ഒരു പ്രൊജക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ നമുക്ക് ആവശ്യമായ ടൈം എത്രയാണ്, അതുപോലെ അതിൻ്റെ ക്രിട്ടിക്കൽ പാത്ത് മാക്സിമം ഡ്യൂറേഷൻ എന്ന പാത്ത് എത്രയാണ്, ഇതൊക്കെ മെഷർ നമുക്ക് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കൺസെപ്റ്റാണ് നെറ്റ്വർക്ക് മോഡൽസ്. As a designed as a flexible approach to representing the object of their relationships. It's like a network രീതിയിലാണ് constructions വരുന്നത്. You look at this diagram is constructed in the network format. So there is an event and activity, and this is representing the event, and this the arrow is representing an activity. അത് വെച്ചുകൊണ്ടാണ് constructions വരിക. The model is known as a network model, designed to flexible approach for representing the certain relationship. That is network model. And another one is simulations. Simulation, the concept introduced by the Monte Carlo. That's why the concept is known as a Monte Carlo simulation model. It's like a probabilistic model. That's a probabilistic experiment to mimic the real life situation. That will use the probability. Probability വെച്ചുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ അതിൻ്റെ കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷൻസ് കാര്യങ്ങൾ ടൈം പീരീഡ് ഇൻ്റർവലൊക്കെ ഫിക്സ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് ഡിസിഷൻസ് എടുക്കുന്നത്. Okay, this technique is relating with the probability and the experiment to mimic the real life situation. It's constructing certain models. The concept introduced by the Monte Carlo, that's why this term is known as the Monte Carlo simulation method. We take the right decision at right time with the help of the simulation model. The 8th one is the simulation. And the 9th one is search model. Very important model in your the practical science, this search model. This model itself with search the problem, identify the problem, because in a business situation there's a possibility for the new problem in each and every second. The search model is always identify the searching the problems and find the solutions. A search problem is characters need a designed procedure to collect the information of the basics which more decision are made. കാരണം ഒരുപാട് ഇഷ്യൂസ് ഏത് സമയം സംഭവിക്കുക, അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് അത് ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്ന ഡിസിഷൻസ് എടുക്കുക. The term is known as the search model. And the last one is the replacement model. Replacement, that's replacing something one. It's concerned the problem of the replacement of the machine, individual, capital asset due to the destroying the efficiency. That means this is a theme relating with the problem of the replacement of machine. In an organization or the manufacturing organization where that stands for the replacing the machine, individual, capital asset. So we can use the replacement model for replacing the machine, individual, and the capital asset. So this is one of the important examples regarding the replacement model. That means it's replacing the field of the application rather than the method of analysis. This is the last model of the programming point of view, that is a replacement model. Okay, these are 10 models are related with the programming. The first one is the allocation model. It's allocation resources. Sequencing, that's placing the certain sequence. Then waiting line queuing models. Inventory model, competitive strategy model, decision model, network model, simulations, and search model and replacement model. These are part of the programming model. Let me conclude. The first we discuss the concept of different types of model, and before that, what is a model? But the model is like a real life situation, a representation of real life. It's like a reality. The team is the model. Different types of models: iconic, analog, symbolic, deterministic, probabilistic, static, dynamic, and programming models. And the first one, the deterministic point of view, that means is assume that everything is certain. Let's assume the certainty in the all aspect of the deterministic model. And a probabilistic stochastic model, that is a probability, that's a getting chance, applying the probability and the probability distribution. And third one, static. Static means it's like a phenomenon with a given point of time that comparing the different point of time. That is a static. Another one is a dynamic model. The dynamic changes according to the situation. That is a dynamic model. There's a programming model. The last one is the programming. We are using the language, computer language. That same is a programming. Program point, there's allocation of the model. It's allocate resource, sequencing, waiting line, and queuing model. That means measuring the waiting time. And inventory model, that means it's maintaining the optimal level of the inventory. That's the inventory model. And competitive strategy, that's one of the important element of the program. It's a competitive point of view that we use in the game theory, like a football game, scoring the maximum goal against opponent and protect over the post from the goals. That's a game strategy. We're using the game's maximum production with the minimum cost. And the decision models behind of the business decision. A network model, that means you are using per turn CPM as part of the network model. Simulation is a part of the probabilistic experiment to mimic the real life situation, the simulation. And search model, that means searching the problem. Replacement means you're replacing the machine, individual, capital asset, relating with the organization. Okay, these are different types of the programming model. Okay, the model is one of the important elements. The model is always part of the real life situation. We can use different model for taking the decision, like a static model, dynamic model, analog model, programming models, and different models are available in your the decision making process. We can select we can use any model with relevant to your the organization. Okay, these are the types of the models used in your the business, the decision making. Okay, anyway, thank you so much, and thank you for watching me.